everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Disney Resorts Podcast. My name is Kenny Hayes, and I'm joined alongside, as always, by the one, the only, Walt Ramirez.
Good evening, Ken. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good, Walt. And you know what tonight is? It is our 1-year anniversary of you and I doing the Disney Resorts Podcast.
Happy anniversary.
We made it 1 year.
We did.
1 year down.
Fast year.
It's a fast year, and we thank you all for your support. You have been very, very generous, and thank you for all the views, the likes, subscribes, downloads, all of that. Walter and I thank you very, very much. And we have a very good show lined up for you today. We have some great news topics to go through. We are going to start off this week at the Boardwalk Villas. Some new pictures and news came out about the refurbishment over at the lobby, as well as the ongoing refurbishment on the inside. We have some pictures to go over with you, and we'll let you know what our thoughts are. GENIE Plus, another update on GENIE Plus. Believe it or not, maybe, just maybe, people are warming up to it. We'll get into that and let you know. The Galactic Starcruiser yet again is in the news. For good, bad, you're going to have to stick around. We will let you know. A very popular restaurant will be reopening in the upcoming future over at the Grand Floridian. We'll let you know about that momentarily. And we even have more news. There's so much we can't just put it all in the intro. So stick around, check us out. It sounds like a good show. And as always, before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our channel. If you're watching us over on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up. And as Walter always says, share with a couple friends. So, Walt, year 1. We're starting year 2. I'm turning it over to you for the news.
Yes, sir. So the Boardwalk, your favorite place?
The favorite place.
Some news there. The lobby remodel is now complete. Mm-hmm. It appears that there wasn't anything too drastic in terms of the changes. It appears that there were some openings on the side of the cast member desks that are now accessible, so that they can now come out and greet the guests when they come in. So that wasn't a huge change. So people should actually remain calm.
Yes. Remain calm, all is well.
That there wasn't a significant change to the lobby at the Boardwalk. How do you feel about that?
I am very happy. And I think if they would have really altered the lobby, people would have truly lost their minds. I truly believe that. Yeah, we're going to put some pictures up over on YouTube. All of those, like the murals, with the gold framing, they all survived. All your chandeliers survived. Like Walter mentioned, they made it more accessible for not only the cast members to come out and greet you. If you also have a disability, handicap, it's easier for you now to come up to the front desk, and you could come up on the side, and you don't have that high desk in front of you. So I think it looks great. I can't wait to get back. I don't know when I'm going back yet. I want to check it out. I do like the paint color. They did like I still have the white pillars, white front desk, but now it's like a mint green above it.
Okay.
So it does look good. I think they did a good job. Like I said in our last episode, when I was speaking to some of the cast members in the Boardwalk, they were very concerned with the refurbishment because we all see what happened at the Carousel coffee shop. But so far, so good for the lobby. Now, I'll also post some pictures up of some pictures from the Boardwalk inside, which is the cash side, not DVC. What do you think? Well, I think the rooms look pretty good.
I would agree with you. I think they do look pretty good. They did a nice job with the with that. They look they look classy. They definitely did a nice job with that. A little further down the road here in the news, we're going to talk about the refurb that was done, the soft refurb that was done at Beach Club, which I don't feel so strongly about. But to answer your question about the Boardwalk, yes, I would agree that they did a pretty nice job there.
Yeah, looking at some pictures here, they got rid of that. I never stayed on the cast side, but we saw pictures. They had like a really dreary, like the wallpaper, and it just did not look good at all. I'm seeing some pictures here of the studio. Very nice headboard. It's like a plaid, like a yellowish plaid.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. It's a double bed, so it's not a Murphy. But one good thing I do like is there's a Keurig. There's a Keurig, Walt.
Yeah, it's good to see that they've splurged and went over to Bed Bath and Beyond before they went out of business and picked up some Keurigs. But so good to see that they
didn't have to go over there. They just went down to the coffee shop and stole that.
There you go.
Well, I would say that before we move on from the boardwalk, where the little, it's not the kitchenette, but like where your coffee pot is and that up against that wall, they actually have it's wallpaper of Mickey and is it Mickey? It's Mickey and Minnie on the green. You know, when you go outside the lobby, yeah, and then they have the lobby. So they have if you were standing at on the boardwalk looking up at the building where the lobby is, you see that the green and it's Mickey and Minnie on a blanket. It looks like they're having a picnic.
Yeah,
nice touch.
They did a nice job
touch.
there. That is a nice touch there. Yeah,
so hats off, because Walter and I, we give them the business. So far, from what we've seen, the boardwalk inside refurbishment is looking good so far.
Let me ask you real quick with that counter that you mentioned there.
Okay.
Do you feel as a DVC member that there's something missing there? In other words, what I'm saying is, wouldn't you like to have maybe? I know this is like super old fashioned. Most people probably don't even know what this is, but a toaster, or something along those lines. Maybe a microwave. It just seems like there's something missing on that counter. But what do you agree?
I agree with you. Now it's I don't want to sound bougie, but since I've been DVC now for 5 years, I'm trying. I don't think they have toasters on the on that side wall. I don't think so. We could be wrong. So if we are wrong, if we are wrong, let us know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, my grandma still use toasters, I think. So, but I mean, I personally like it. I would like something like that, because if you want to have like an English muffin or something that, even like a Pop-Tart or something that you want to throw in there in the morning before you head out to the parks, it seems like there's something missing. I mean, it's nice to have the coffee in the morning, but I don't know. There's just one more appliance would be nice, especially on the DVC side of it.
Yeah,
because you guys obviously pay enough money to afford a toaster.
Yeah, you could afford a toaster and a microwave. It's not going to break the bank. I do like the colors. It's a nice bright, it's a nice yellow.
It is
very bright. The couch in there, the love couch. It's small. It's like a love seat. Like a nice teal, like a mint. That's a nice color. They kept with the shore theming. It looks very. It's themed well, I think, but in a very not so in your face.
Yes, I would agree.
So yeah, bravo with the boardwalk in so far. And before we wrap up the boardwalk portion, I have seen some pictures of, and if I find them, I will put them up for our YouTube people. They're starting to work on the hallways, I believe, on the villas side, changing the lighting in the hallway as well as the carpeting. And repainting the walls. Looks good so far. The carpeting is still, this makes any sense. It's busy, but it's still that busy but dulled down at the same time. Looks good. Looks good. So
the only thing I'm not
good.
Crazy about is that and you'll put up a picture of this probably. There's like a mint colored chair next to the bed. I'm
looking at it right now.
Not a fan of that. First of all, it doesn't look very comfortable.
No.
And that design looks like it should be in a museum. But that could go, but the couch is fine. It looks comfortable. And I do like the storage shelf, the drawers in front of the TV.
Yes, that looks good.
That does look good. I like the black molding around it looks sharp.
Yeah, so it does. Bravo. Good job.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to, real quick here, we have some good news. One of my favorite restaurants on property is reopening after being, I guess, refurbished on the interior. Narcossee's is going to reopen at the Grand Floridian on April 1st. There's going to be a few new dishes that were added to the menu. There's going to be an ocean-inspired charcuterie board, which I am looking forward to. I know Ken will not be partaking in this at all, but I will. More for me. The ahi tuna pastrami. There's a charred octopus and a lobster sausage. So that really looks interesting. There's also a new addition on the fish side. There's a blackened redfish, which also looks really, really good. And then the mainstays, the fillet, the scallops, they're all coming back. But looking forward to
freshed up menu.
Yeah, a freshed up menu. Hopefully the decor in the restaurant was also freshened up a bit. And looking forward to eventually getting down there. Unfortunately, on my upcoming trip, I will not be able to go there because they won't be open yet. But maybe in the fall, I'll try to get down there. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, because you turned me on to that. It's been years since I've been there, Walt, but I did enjoy my time there with you, and we had good meals at Narcossee's. I think it's, now granted, a large portion of the menu, even with the new one, is seafood. But if you're like me, someone who really doesn't eat seafood, you could still they have, I think, a New York strip, I think the new menu has. It has a filet.
There's also a pork chop also.
There's also a pork chop. So if you don't have to, there is options other than
fish
from the sea.
Absolutely.
But if you want to go to Narcossee's, like Walter said, it reopens April 1st. It's not April Fool's. It's really opening. Yeah. April 1st. They will start taking your dining reservations on March 1st. So get those phones, computers out if you want to go back to Narcossee's. Because remember, it's been closed, I believe, since July. So it's been a lengthy refurbishment.
It's been a while, yep.
Yeah. So bravo. And I want to when you do, Walt, because I'm not doing it, whenever you make it back, I want to know how that charcuterie board is, because I'm not.
Don't worry, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. So moving on, GENIE Plus sells out. All right, so here's my take on this. So GENIE Plus did sell out, I think, 2 dates recently. I think one was President's Day.
Yeah, 2 days in a row.
2 days in a row. Okay, so I think what's finally happening is people are finally exhausted. They have beaten everyone down, and I think they finally just threw their hands up, and people are giving up, and they're just saying, you know what, I don't want to spend 6 hours waiting online for one ride. So, and I'm exaggerating, but you could spend an hour to an hour and a half easily on most of the popular rides and basically waste an entire half a day to maybe even more than half a day and not really get anything done. So, because the standby lines are extraordinarily long, and especially on busier days. And I think folks are just finally fed up, and they're just saying, you know what, this stinks, but I'm gonna spend the money and get the GENIE Plus, because I can actually, like the old-fashioned way of doing things, of getting the Fast Pass, I can actually get some lightning lanes and get on things, and I'm not wasting my entire day standing on a line. We've talked about this many times before. It's obviously, this basically cements GENIE Plus as it's here to stay. It is not. We're never going back to Fast Passes.
We caved.
You might as well put the Fast Pass in the showcase in a museum, in the Disney Museum somewhere, and have people go by and go, and point to it and go, what's that over there?
Shame on you people.
Because it's never coming back. It's never coming back. This has now become a revenue stream for them that they will just absolutely milk the heck out of it, and this is not going away. So go ahead, Ken. Let me hear your take on it.
I am 100% in agreement with you. I think, last ditch effort of us shaming them into some kind of Fast Pass, I think, has gone out the window. This is the first and second time, as we're back to back, that it has sold out at Walt Disney World since its inception in October of 21. I believe it did sell out in Disneyland one day. Let's see. Yeah, back in December of last year.
I
Now,
think you'll see. I think you'll see this happen more and more as the summer goes along. As it gets busier, you're going to see this happen a lot more often.
I hope you're wrong, but I think you're right. One thing, now, granted, this past weekend was President's Weekend, so a lot of people had a long weekend. You might have had some people traveling, getting a 4-day weekend out of it, taking 1 day, getting a 4-day. I think part of it had that to play into it because of the holiday weekend. But I think, like you said, Walt, and I think you said it very well, we've been beaten down so much that waits are extremely long. And you're going on that trip and you're like, I don't want to wait in that line for an hour and a half. I don't want to wait in that line for 2 hours.
And you just had this experience.
Yeah, I just had this experience. It's not, I'm not a fan of Genie Plus, but I think the next time I do go and there's rides that I'm going to want to go on, I'm just being honest. I'm going to have to break down and make a deal with the devil because I want to go on the ride and I don't want to wait an hour and a half and kill that time. They got us.
Yeah. But you held the line on this last vacation. I'll give you credit for that.
I did hold the line. We might, whenever we decide to go again, which we will this year. We don't have a date confirmed yet. Walter will be the next. I'm jelly, but yeah, well, I think you agree. Not to beat a dead horse. I think Genie, this is a sign in the wrong direction that this is here to stay. But hopefully we're wrong, but I think you're right.
So moving on to the next topic, which is kind of a dual topic here. We'll start out with this one first. So the Galactic Starcruiser for cast members was announced as a 50% discount for cast members.
So generous.
It's very generous. So you're in union negotiations with your cast members. Mm-hmm. You've made a pronouncement this week that you will not budge 1 cent, and that was, I believe, a quote on giving them a raise from the preliminary offer that they gave them, which I believe was like a $1 increase over what they currently have. But yet somehow you feel compelled to offer them, out of the kindness of your heart, a 50% discount on a $6,000 room. So, for $2,900, you can bring 3 friends. And even though you're having a hard time paying the rent and buying food and filling your gas tank, but hey, listen, just come over and we'll give you a discount.
Yeah, why not?
So, to kind of quote one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite movies, that is very obtuse. And I just can't believe that people in the PR department at this company are that disconnected with reality that they would actually, during these negotiations, I mean, it's fine if you want to do this over the summer after you get past this, fine. But to do this week when you're like literally fighting with the union, and you come out and say, oh, by the way, here's a discount on an experience that most people probably aren't even interested in going on.
They're not, because this is round 3 of begging people to come.
And I will say this real quick because it's kind of off of this topic a little bit, but I recently watched someone else on a different podcast. And I'll give them credit. It was on WDWNT, Tom Corliss. And I watched his review of the third time that he went on. And I will say that he swayed my opinion somewhat. Not enough to obviously stay there because I'm not that huge of a fan. But I understood where he was coming from a little bit better. That for some people, especially if you're bringing, say, your parents or family members along, he was very complimentary about the experience, predominantly because of the cast members and how they made him feel. And I've always said the cast members work super hard there. They're very invested in that experience, and I give them all the credit in the world. And it's unfortunate that Disney has not supported them enough to make this experience A, more affordable, and B, a more accessible, for the average, the average consumer. So, having said that, and Ken and I have talked about the Galactic Starcruiser for a long time, and we still have our running wager that this is going to be going away.
Absolutely.
We both agree that we think that this is at some point going to turn into, I'm going to joke around and say that it's going to be a DVC hotel, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Welcome to DVC.
Yeah, DVC on Batu. But it's going to be a hotel at some point, and there's going to be maybe an additional cost to the experience. I don't know if we talked about this, Ken, the last time, but I thought that you could actually go two ways with this. You could go and have an actual room, just the room experience where the rooms are decorated in that fashion.
Yep.
And you're not immersive in it.
You come and go as you please.
And then you have the other experience where you are part of, what the current immersion is, but at a different price point.
I think, we did talk about it in one of our previous shows, and I think we're right, because like right now you could do they have that lightsaber room where you're hitting the beam with your lightsaber. They're shooting the beam out at you and you're testing. And then you can also you could captain the Galactic Starcruiser where you go into the wheelhouse and that. Well, I'm talking
the lightsaber. The lightsaber training.
Yes, the lightsaber training. You can also man the Galactic Starcruiser. I think all of that will stay in place, and that would be an upcharge. Walter and I go, and we want to shoot rockets or do a lightsaber. You could do that at a certain price.
Mm-hmm.
But if Walter wants to go and just, I want the experience of staying in the Galactic Starcruiser, not dressing up, not interacting, and being able to come and go as I please, I think that will be an option too. Remember, folks, I think it's only about 100 rooms. So you could take 50 rooms and sub them out to people who want to pay high end and want that full immersion, and then you could play. But let me ask you this, Walt. Say if they do that, they go 50-50, right? Mm-hmm. So we want people that want to be full immersed, and then we have other people that just want to come and go. Can that work? Where you have a Star Cruiser where Walt's down there with his wife and he's walking through and regular goes out to go to his car to go to Magic Kingdom, and then you got 50 people rolling down the hallway, with lightsabers ready to take on the First Order. You know what I mean? Can it work?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you can, because you could actually have it set up the way DVC has it, where you have the cash side and you have the DVC side. So you could have it kind of separated in that sense, where if I'm like heading out to go to the parks, I'm going out a different exit than maybe you would be going out, if you were, say, going to, lightsaber training or something like that. So I think there's logistically, I think they'd have to, be more creative, which that seems to be quite difficult for them lately. The creative department doesn't seem to be wanting to work very hard. But it could be done. I think it could be done. I don't think it's ever going to be completely scrapped.
I agree.
I think there's going to be something has to come out of it, because they've invested way too much money into it.
Agreed.
And I think they're going to have a hard time admitting that they've really overshot this and made a mistake. But hopefully they'll come to that conclusion relatively soon, and then to kind of make it more enjoyable for everybody. Because like you said, I may not want to go for a $2,000 experience, but I might want to stay at a room that's maybe $300-$400 a night and give it a shot and say, hey, I'm going to try this out and see what it's all about.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, Walt, you forgot, because not only are they offering the cast members 50% off, they're also offering cast members 50% off the merchandise.
That's correct. I'm glad you brought that up, because that actually was an offer that was made, apparently, from what I understand, around the holidays in the past. And now they brought it back and kind of made it, I guess, somewhat permanent for cast members. So let's spend money that we don't have on merchandise. I'm going to tie this into the union negotiations because I have a little bit of an issue with this.
Buckle your seatbelts. It's going to get ugly.
I don't understand, and Ken, you deal with a lot of folks in your employment, and
I do.
you're in a position also where there is a union involved.
Correct.
And I just don't. And you've obviously been through negotiations in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they can't sit in a room and come up with a number and not have this drag on the way it is and treat their cast members as if they're not significant. And what I'm saying by that is this, and I'll give you just a very rudimentary, idea. Okay. Universal offered $17 an hour to all of their employees, just that they're going to start that in, I believe, June.
I believe you're correct.
So why doesn't Disney say, okay, look, we're going to give you 18 at the same time around June, okay? And then we're going to give you $1 raise in 2024, $1 raise in 2025, okay? And now you're going to be at $20 an hour.
Correct.
All right? So here's the thing. So you're going to say, okay, well, the shareholders are going to be ticked off and Disney's incurring, all these additional labor costs. Okay, we'll meet you halfway. So we'll say this. So for 26 and 27, the 2 years after that, you're frozen. You get no increases other than the cost of living. So now Disney can say to their and again, like I said, I'm just throwing this out there.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody in accounting should be able to come up with something similar.
Absolutely.
So you could then go. So then you could go to your shareholders and say, look, we're going to incur an increase in labor costs at the front end of this contract, but on the back end of the contract, they're frozen for 2 years, and while everybody else is going to have to go through increases at that point, because by that time, 20 might not be that big of a deal anymore. The way things are going. So,
God only knows in a couple of years what inflation, the economy is going to look like.
Correct. So by 20, now you're talking 27. So you're talking 4 years out.
Yep.
4 years from now, you know what? $20 might be right around what the labor costs are going to be across the country. So, everybody else might have to go above that to get better associates, better staffing. So, again, I'm just throwing out numbers, but to me, it makes no sense to not sit and negotiate something like that, where you say, okay, listen, we'll give you X, but we want Y, and just go have a back and forth and get it done, because happy cast members is what you want.
Yep.
Because they will then it all rolls downhill, and they will then have a better. And again, there's going to be bad apples everywhere. There is
everywhere,
but there's going to be people that are going to actually be happy to go to work, and they're not going to stand on the line and complain that my manager mistreated me today, or I'm not getting the amount of money I should be getting, and I'm working X amount of hours. Now you're going to have people that actually want to go to work, and again, why would you not want that? I don't understand that. Okay.
Well, you are right. As someone, as a union member, been on quite a few negotiations over the years. Usually negotiations do not start off, Walt, very good for either side. One side comes in high because they know the employer, no matter where you are, unless you're a very big, strong union, they're going to come in super low. And we have done it in the past where we're like, listen, we know you have a number already that you're going to settle with. We know it. You know it. Let's just agree with it. And then at that point, it goes to like the perks, whether you're going to get an extra day off, whether they're going to pay for whatever. There's all different, depending on the contract or wherever you are. There's all these different perks that you get, or what they're going to pay for, schooling, whatever, but it never seems to work that way. And they will hold out as long as they can for you to break, because from what I've heard so far, Disney cast members gave up the right to strike many years ago.
Yeah,
so
that's
in
correct.
past collective bargaining, they gave up the right to strike. So they lost their leverage, because Disney knows that, and there are unions out there, and government employees are one of them, where they generally have a no strike. Because why? Because they don't want, because then the employees hold leverage. But it works both ways, because if the employees can strike, the employer can lock you out. It works both ways, and no one wins that way. However, when you're an employee, you're still showing up to work every day. They're going to become disgruntled because they don't have a contract, and everything keeps going up. Inflation's somewhere in the 7 to 8% right now still. They're underpaid to begin with. They just came in. Now, here's the bad thing is that, and Walt, I think you will agree with me 100% on this. You said Universal is at $17 an hour for their employees. So Disney is going to use that benchmark with their negotiators and say, well, Universal's paying 17, they're right down the road. We're going to pay you 17. Now, I know also Disney has, I think, good family plans. They have very good health insurance. I believe they have the 401. So that does go a long way. However, it still doesn't pay the bills. And they're going to use Universal against them. Instead, how, Walter, have you said it on other shows, instead of Disney being different and setting themselves apart from everyone else to say, we're not going to do that. We're not going to treat our employees like that because we're Disney. And how you said it, Walt, all the time, we're better than that.
Yep.
This is where they should step up and say, we're better than that. We're going to get to that $20 mark, because I could pay Josh tomorrow. I can pay Bob Iger millions and millions and millions of dollars. Granted, they're tough jobs and they have a ton of responsibility. However, the gap between employees, and I don't know the exact number, but the gap between employees when they opened Disneyland and Walt and Roy Disney was not the gap of frontline cast members today and Josh tomorrow and Bob Iger.
It's several hundred times.
Yes.
Right, from the last time I checked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, they still have power, because guess what? If the Disney World staff 50% called out one day, think about the chaos that would create there.
Correct. Well, I was going to get to that. I said, it is true.
The old
that
blue flu.
Well, it is true that they would probably be fired if they all went on strike. But if they did all go on strike, let's just say they did.
Unity in union.
Right? If they all went on strike, the place would shut down.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, once the deal got hammered out, they would have to hire people back.
Correct.
So maybe some people they might would get rid of, maybe people that they wanted to get rid of all along and couldn't, but majority of the people would be rehired, because you wouldn't be able to fill all those positions, no matter how many people are waiting on the unemployment line. Mm-hmm. So it is a huge risk for people who probably wouldn't get their jobs back. They have to stick
together, and it have to be a whole heck of a lot of them.
Correct. And unfortunately, as you know, in society, it doesn't work out that way.
No,
but as you pointed out, the utopia would be that they would have some pride and say, like you mentioned, that we're Disney and we're not going to treat our cast members that way. Mm-hmm. We're above and beyond everyone else, and we're going to treat our cast members with respect and dignity that they deserve. Mm-hmm. And again, we're not talking, it's not like they're giving them $25, $30 an hour.
No.
They're asking for an increase that is within reason of where the rest of the country is. Now, granted, rural America may not be at that point, but the majority of the large cities and the large businesses are at that point. And it just, again, you hire at, pick a number somewhere between $17 and $18 an hour, and then you give them the annual increases. And I don't think that's really asking a lot.
No,
I really don't. I don't really. And I think the union would probably go for that. I know some of the cast members probably would want to start out immediately at 20, but that might not be a realistic, point for them. But I would be happy with the guaranteed increases over the next 2 years. And this should not drag out the way it's dragging out.
And it's not going to look good for them.
It doesn't. It doesn't look good. Now, most people probably aren't even paying attention to it. But those of us that are fans and are park goers, we obviously see what's going on. And that leads me to the next topic. Okay. Is Bob Iger actually still alive? Because I think that Bob Chapek is still there, but he went and bought a Bob Iger mask.
He stole my jeans. He's there.
And he stole your jeans. He's wearing your jeans, and he's got a Bob Iger mask on. And everybody thinks Iger's back, but he's really not back. It's still Bob Chapek. Why do I say that? My impression of Iger when he returned was that I felt he came back because he wanted to cement his legacy. He didn't want Chapek to ruin everything that he built up. Now, some of the things that he built up recently were some of the things that Ken and I don't particularly care for. But having set that aside for now, he came back with a 2-year window. And that 2-year window, 6 months of that almost, well, not 6 months, I'm jumping ahead, but
almost 4 already.
4 months.
March will be 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, by the summer, it'll be 6 months almost, okay? So you're talking a year and a half. Your window's closing fast. You haven't made any announcements about anything. You haven't made any significant changes. Every change that they've made that we have talked about in the past few weeks that we've been so happy that they've made those changes are all minor changes, are all changes that should have been made by people like Josh D'Amaro, who, by the way, has received a ton of credit for things that really I'm searching around trying to find something that he did, because this is a guy that everyone rolls out the red carpet for him as if he is, the savior of the company. And basically, I think he's just been a passenger here. He's, I guess, trying to wait it out in the weeds and hope that at some point, when Iger leaves, that he might be a candidate to get the CEO position. But you have to be a leader. And I really don't see any leadership from him. He hasn't had the guts to make any significant changes or make any announcements. And you can, as you and I talked about before the show started, he could be diplomatic about it. He could say, listen, under the previous CEO, we implemented park reservations and we implemented these other things. We experienced a pandemic, and now we've gotten past this point, and are now going to return back to some of the things that all of our customers have grown accustomed to and enjoyed in the past. In other words, you get rid of the park reservation system. You start making announcements about possible improvements, and because this last D23, let's face it, was a snooze fest. So here's where I'm getting at. And I heard this on another podcast, which kind of rolled me into this rant a little bit, is once the Polynesian construction is done for DVC, and now you've completed Tron, what's on the horizon? There's nothing on the horizon. There's nothing new that's been announced. Now they put out that art.
For maybe the expansion of Magic Kingdom, and
which they kind of
which
left
is years away.
Yeah, you left the window open, but that's a window that may or may not ever happen. And let's just say it does.
Mm-hmm.
How many years are we talking about here? Look at how long it took to build Tron. I mean, even if you took out the COVID situation, it would have probably still have taken them at least 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years to build that ride. Okay. So now you're looking, there's been no announcements. There's been no groundbreaking anywhere. So now the next D23 is, I believe, in Paris, from what I understand.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I think it's next year. I think it's in Paris because of the 30th anniversary.
Okay.
So let's assume that at D23, you're going to probably make announcements to improvements in Paris, right? Because you're there, so you're going to want those folks to be happy.
Cater.
You're going to cater to them, which makes sense, right? So where are the Florida improvements coming? So it won't be next year. Yeah, I mean, I think they spent a lot of time making a lot of cosmetic changes and some good ones. I will give them that.
Yes. Yep.
They made some cosmetic changes, but this is Disney. We talked about this. This is Disney. Walt was a home run hitter. He wasn't a singles hitter. He wanted home runs. And Disney's been hitting a lot of singles. And that's fine, but Universal's over there opening up new gates and hitting home runs. And
paying their employees more.
And paying their employees more. Now, listen, they're never going to be in Disney's league.
No.
Because they just don't have the gravitas. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be about Universal. It should be about Disney. It should be about what are we doing to make ourselves better and expanding and making our guest experiences what everyone is used to, being just overwhelmed by how great it is. And it's not that anymore.
No.
So I really, I just don't understand why Iger hasn't come out and just had a press conference and talked about things that he wants. I mean, he's been on business channels and he's made some pronouncements about some of the big things like ESPN and there's an issue with Hulu now, whether
they keep it or sell it.
They're keeping it or selling it or all that. But you know what? The average customer, the average fan doesn't want to hear that. That's your job. Your job is that office stuff, that I call office stuff, the big stuff that you want to deal with. That's your job. I want to know what, and this falls into maybe tomorrow's lap. I want to know what you're going to be doing for parks, because that's your title. What are you going to be doing for parks? And he should go to Iger and say, give me more leeway to be able to do this, if in fact he is being held back, which I don't believe he is. So
I agree with you.
Again, again, this, because I'll let you. I have one more thing, but I don't want to keep going on and on about this. I have one other quick thing. But I want you to give me your thoughts on what I just went on.
I am going to answer that. And Walt, you were spot on with everything. I agree with you 100%. One thing I can tell you that he's going to give you back with the parks. You mentioned what Josh Tomorrow is going to give you for the parks, right? Well, we are taping today, a few days before our show airs. And as they mentioned a couple weeks ago, that there was going to be changes to the annual pass. You were no longer going to need a park reservation after 2 p.m. But they didn't give a date. The feelers, right? So they came out today, effective, let me just double check this. Okay. Effective April 18th. You will now be able to jump after 2 o'clock to any of the parks with no restrictions unless it's Magic Kingdom on the weekends. You're welcome.
see, this is why
I mean, like, what? Oh my God! It's like because actually we could just we could mingle these two together. So this comes out today, and I said I bought my annual pass because they made strides, which you and I thought they would make changes, and they did. However, you said it best a couple weeks ago: all or nothing. All or nothing. A couple weeks ago, you put out there that, hey, room service is returning to deluxe every day, moderate in value every other day. Lo and behold, a couple weeks later, guess what? Now, as of the end of February, deluxe, moderate, value, every day it's going to be again. And in the captions on the Disney Park blog, it's like, hey, well, you guys have been waiting for it, and it's coming back. So why would you drip a month ago and go, hey, deluxe every day, moderate value every other day, to basically immediately, change it again? It's because of what we said. The feelers are out. People kept complaining, so they had to cave and give it to you. I guess people aren't complaining enough about annual passes because people, guess what? You still can't buy an annual pass.
That's correct. That's actually where I was headed to next. I'm glad you brought it up because
there you go. You're welcome.
You know, it just I don't understand that. I again, this is going back to where is Bob Iger on this?
Yeah.
You know, why would you not open up the annual pass sales? Now, I can be a conspiracy theorist and tell you what I really think, which is they don't want to open it up until the contract negotiations with the union are over, because you would probably have a flood of people buying annual passes again. Because don't forget, now, how long has the annual pass been locked out now? 2 years now, probably, at least.
It's well over a year. Yeah, by a year and a half.
Or a year and a half. Okay, so you've been locked out for a year and a half. So you've created an artificial demand. Okay, because people like me, I didn't renew, and I probably still won't if it becomes available. But
yes, you will.
But even if I wanted to, I couldn't. So like your wife, she can't, right? So I think you would have a flood of people coming back in, and then the union would say, "Hey, wait a minute. You just sold tens of thousands of annual passes.
Who's going to be there?
And you're nickel and diming us over a couple pennies, you know, or $1 increase.
Crazy.
You know? So I think, you know, again, that's just speculation, but I just don't understand why the annual pass wasn't reopened. And then to your point about the discounting, okay? So why do they do this half-ass discounting that they do? Okay, so for example, annual pass holders get 10% off for food, but no alcohol. So why would you not do alcohol also? It's going to increase your tab.
Still going to make money on it.
You're going to still make money on it. In fact, you probably make more money on it. 20% off merchandise, but only select locations. Because I've had that happen to me when I was an annual pass holder, where I would go somewhere and they sorry,
no annual pass here.
No annual pass here. And it's like, wait a minute, why not? So I just don't get why, like you said, why are they doing this halfway on so many things? They do it, they mistreat you guys with DVC, where you only get your cleaning every 4 days.
Shame.
That one always floored me, even when I was a DVC member, because I just didn't understand that.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm staying at Pop Century. I'm getting my room cleaned every day. I'm at Caribbean Beach. I'm, you know, All Stars. They're getting their rooms cleaned every day. But you're staying at a super deluxe, ultra deluxe, and you're getting it every 4th day, and you're barely even getting your garbage taken out. Sometimes they
don't. They usually do, but some of them they don't.
Sometimes they don't. Yeah.
No.
So again, this is what I call the half-ass Disney aspect of things, and I just don't understand why they, you know, I don't know if it's lack of communication for them, or, you know, I don't understand the benefit of it, is what I'm trying to say.
Don't look good.
Because A, it doesn't look good, And B, if you're giving somebody 10% off on their food, how much money are you saving by not giving it to them on their alcohol? Like, I just don't get it. Is that what makes or breaks you? Is that what gets you to your earnings number every quarter for your stockholders? That I didn't give Kenny 10% off on his beer tab this time around. I don't understand the half-ass mentality in this.
Well, that's why I took my jeans.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess. Have you checked eBay?
I'm not letting that go, Disney. I'm not letting it go.
I don't blame you for that.
Shame on you.
Anyway, so moving on to some lighter topics.
Yes.
Since we've been kind of heavy-handed on this episode, and we don't want to end on a sour note. On Ken's last trip.
Hold on a second, Walt.
What did I forget?
Do you want to talk about the Beach Club refurb before?
No, because you know what? That's just going to set me off. That is just going to set me off. You know what? That again, really quick. Going back to that, this is again the half-ass part of it. Why are we doing these cosmetic refurbs?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand it. You know, if you're going to do a refurb, do a full refurb. If you're going to do a partial refurb, then just don't do it at all. Just don't do it at all. It's just it's a waste of time and money for the person who owns that property, because like I saw those rooms. Mm-hmm. My biggest gripe is the bathrooms. Okay, so you know you can criticize me and say, oh well, Walter, you were just talking about toasters and toasters are obsolete and blah blah blah. Okay, that's true. They are. But you know what else is obsolete? Bathtubs. People like walk-in showers.
True.
Okay.
I got rid of mine.
Showers. Yeah, I mean, people like walk-in showers. I mean, yeah, you know, I understand if you have, you know, little kids, you have babies, you know. Yes, absolutely, I understand that. So Ken and I, we have a solution for that. You have a portion of your rooms where you have them for families who have little children, and then the other portion of the rooms you have for people like us who prefer to have a walk-in shower. Mm-hmm. My recent trip to Europe, every hotel I was in was a fabulous walk-in shower that you could basically, like, you know, play football in. I mean, I've never seen showers this size. And Disney, you know, you still have a bathtub and an old-fashioned, what I call a grandma shower. And it makes no sense. You know, it's one thing if you're doing it at a place like the All-Stars or maybe a moderate. But
Agreed.
when you're doing DVC, that room, it's deluxe. That room that should knock your socks off. As I said to Ken, you walk into that room, you should be like, wow, this is awesome. There's no difference between the room at Pop Century and the room at the Beach Club. Okay, let me repeat that. There's no difference. You know what the difference is? Difference is the decor. Okay, the decor is different and maybe a little bit of square footage, but not much. You're getting you're getting 2 beds. You're getting that same hardwood floor. You're getting a small, wall unit there to put your clothes in. And you're getting the same size TV. It's not like the TV's like, 10 inches bigger. Okay. You're getting the same size TV. Everything's the same. It's the decor. Mm-hmm. Now, you have to ask yourself, is the decor worth $300 more a night? Not in my book, it isn't. Okay, it's not. It has to be the amenities. The amenities have to knock my socks off, and the amenities aren't knocking my socks off. They're not. Definitely not at Beach Club. I can't speak for Boardwalk because I haven't stayed there in a very, very long time. You have, but looking at the pictures you showed me, those rooms look very similar to my rooms over at Beach Club. You know what I mean? Except for, again, the decor. Mm-hmm. And we talked about theming, and I'm all for theming. And Ken, I think you would agree. You're big into the theming part of it. But what in that room is something that I can point to and say, you ain't getting that at Caribbean Beach. You ain't getting that at Pop Century. Okay, not enough. You know, one of the things, and this is a small thing, but my wife and I noticed that the ceiling fan in the moderate versus the DVC, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ceiling fan in some of the rooms.
I believe you're correct.
Okay. All right, so that's a small thing. It's
I
not
like a fan, so it hurts me when I don't have one.
Me too, especially when you sleep at night. You want to have it on.
Even in the winter, right now, it's on.
Yeah, sometimes AC doesn't kick on as much as you'd like, and you'd like to have a ceiling fan. Again, I mean, to me, again, I just don't. Not a fan, and I don't want to beat a dead horse because again, we always talk about this. We eventually, at some point, have to do a DVC show because I have a lot of issues with that. I know Ken is a lot more positive on it. He has a few contracts, but I think even Ken is starting to get a little beaten down on some of this.
In a future show, a future DVC show, we will do a more dive into the Beach Club refurbishment. But even when you look at right now, before we wrap. And I know we've been giving them the business today, but they deserve it. You look at the Boardwalk refurbishment on the inside, right? Even the bathroom has a glass sliding door. They did have the tub, but they have a glass sliding door. Here's the Beach Club. I'm looking at it. They got the curtain.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You're talking about. I could give on now I'm curious to see what the Villa side looks like when they start their refurbishment of the actual rooms. So but they usually have the stand-up shower. But you know what I'm getting at. Well, okay, so
yeah,
if this has got a walk-in with the tub and this is the studio, okay. Well, can you put the door in at least? You put a glass door in?
Because as you know, shower curtains are disgusting.
Oh,
they get
God.
moldy.
Yep.
They're so I mean, really, do you really want to go through that? Now you're now you're incurring additional costs because now you're going to be replacing shower curtains on a regular basis in every room.
See, I get lucky. Yeah, I get lucky because normally in the one bedroom and up, we have the walk-in shower. And then you have the soaker tub, or in some of the older resorts that are not refurbished yet, you get the jacuzzi tub. So, and I prefer a stand-up shower. But like even in the studio I stayed at one night back in January at Saratoga did have a tub. But I'll give you credit. I'll give them credit. It had pop to it. Like it had the special, it had a nice design tile for the center. And then the rest of the tile around it. Like I'm looking at the Beach Club and it's very, granted, they're going to say, well, we're trying to do like more of a beach theme. Very just plain. Saratoga comes out and it pops a little bit.
Yeah. I've stayed at Polynesian before, and Polynesian has a wonderful walk-in shower. I love the showers there at the Poly. Yeah. Love it. And again, what's the difference? You know what I mean? You look at the Polynesian, right? So that's a deluxe.
Yep.
Why shouldn't that be in the same ballpark as your Boardwalk or a beach club or yacht club? It should be in the same.
Granted, because that one walk-in at the Poly, it has like that almost like I guess like the cobblestone, the dark cobblestone on the ground. It goes perfect.
It's classy.
It's classy. It goes with the room.
Right. And you feel when you walk in there that, wow, this is special.
Yes, it gets a little bit of a wow factor.
It gets a wow factor. Yeah, absolutely. So real quick here, so we can finish up on a positive note, because I want to put a bow on this today. Kenny's last vacation, he had a great dessert over at the Cruise Cup, which is a lounge located at the Yacht Club.
Correct.
And he had which he'll put up on YouTube pictures of. He had a fabulous dessert. It was a strawberry shortcake. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my wife had the strawberry shortcake for $13. She loved it. It was good. It was one of those cool nights. Unfortunately, when we went, it wasn't that much warmer in Florida than it was in Jersey. So we came back from there one night and we were like, you know what? We were walking one night and we walked by it. And all the times when we go to Yacht and Beach a lot, even though we haven't stayed there, we like to. And I'm like, wow, look at that inside. That looks cool. So I went to the lady outside and I said, do you need a reservation for the lounge? She's like, no, it's first come, first serve. They got tables. They got booths. You can sit at the bar. And it's weird because I'll put it up on the screen. When you go into it, it kind of looks like woodsy. Like it has that more of a wilderness lodge look. So it kind of took me off guard for a minute. It is directly to the left of the Yachtsman. Pretty good size too. Would absolutely go back. Like I said, she loved the strawberry shortcake. I had up on the screen now the Celebrating Layers of Magic. It's basically chocolate, caramel, espresso mousse.
That looked really good too.
Yeah, we had a couple drinks. If you are hungry, there are several food options that come from directly next door to Yachtsman. So if you cannot get a reservation at the Yachtsman, the second best thing would be to go there. And there's several different dining options there as well. It is one of my favorite lounges to date.
Okay.
I had a great time there. And it's such a good vibe. We caught the end of I am a 49er fan. Everyone calm down. Caught the end of the Niner game, the divisional. It was the divisional round. Caught the end of that game when we got there. It was perfect timing. Yeah, cool. Like I said, Enchanted Rose, that's a really cool lounge over at the Grand Floridian. I definitely want to go back my next trip. But it had a good laid back vibe over at the Cruise Cup. And what's nice about the Yacht Club is they got the two of them there. Like you go right around the corner and you have the Ale and Compass Lounge, which is pretty big, dark. It's very subdued, the blues. It's a good place to go as well. But definitely try the Cruise Cup. Those two desserts were spot on.
And a very comparable price, right? You said to most of other
Yes, the
other
prices
places.
were, let me pull it up. The Celebrating Layers of Magic, which I had, was $13, and the Strawberry Shortcake was $13. And Disney, a lot of times it's that look, like their desserts, their all that is like Instagram worthy, but it doesn't really do it justice. As soon as you start to eat it, you're like, okay, it's average. They were good. They're good.
And it's actually a good option if you don't want to go to Beaches and Cream for ice cream.
Which I did. We'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, but it gives you a good option if you just want to have something other than just ice cream. And like you said, I do like the decor in there. I was it's a typical like yacht club. It's a little bit on the darker side, but like you said, it's very laid back and comfortable.
We were lucky enough to get a booth. And it was very comfortable, and just her and I had a couple drinks, had some dessert, and had a relaxing night. It was a very nice, relaxing evening.
Awesome. Okay, so we're a couple of announcements here before we wrap up. First, I will be heading down to Walt Disney World March the 24th, and we'll be down there for 4 nights. Hopefully we'll be getting, we're going to do a few different reviews of a few new places I'm going to be dining at, one of which is going to be the Roundup Barbecue at Hollywood Studios.
Nice.
Even though I did kind of pan it on the last episode. But,
he caved.
But I did. I wanted to give it a shot and see what I thought about it and give it a review.
To it.
I'm looking forward to that. And then we have some exciting news, some a first here, since this is our first 1 year anniversary. Yep. We are going to be having a special interview. We're going to be interviewing Denny Sunderly, formerly of Diz Unplugged, and currently she has her own fabulous channel on YouTube, which is, you can find her on YouTube at Denny Sunderly. And we're going to be doing an interview and asking her some questions about some interesting topics on how she feels about some of the changes that have taken place over the last year or so. And really looking forward to having that conversation. It'll be our first one, and why not hit a home run on your first try? So
exactly, you always start off with a home run.
Absolutely. So that's going to be it for tonight. Ken, any other thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, good show as always. And like I said, it is our 1 year anniversary. Man, it's been a blast. I have a good time. And like, Walt, you set this up, and what a way to start the second year by hitting a home run with a very big influencer. And she does great work. And I'm very excited to have a couple minutes to talk to her.
Very, very positive take on things. Very informative. So it's I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. All right. That's a good show, Walt, as always. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yep. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of the Disney Resorts Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. For Walt Ramirez, I'm Kenny Hayes. Take care, everybody.